my name is Tierna McGrath, and I'm going to be talking about monoculture farming. More specifically, how monoculture farming has affected soil fertility and biodiversity. To answer this question, I'm first going to define what is monoculture farming. Monoculture farming is the farming of a single crop in a given area. Throughout history, as population rise, it's increasingly replaced polyculture farming. The initial benefits of monoculture are obvious. It has been used for centuries to produce large amounts of high-yield crops such as rice, corn, wheat, and other grain crops. As well as allowing farmers to produce high yields, monoculture is more efficient, permitting it to be maintained at a lower cost. However, there are downsides to monoculture. First off, it has negatively affected soil fertility. In a small village in Pakistan, conventional or monoculture farming has been predominantly used with little introduction of advanced farming techniques. The nitrogen content of the soil was low in 100% of samples, and 43% of samples were found to be low in carbon. These results are significant as nitrogen is essential for production of chlorophyll and carbon is essential for photosynthesis, both of which allow the plant to grow. Another study done in Washington found monoculture farming has negative long-term effects on soil composition when compared to an organic farm. Both farms were adjacent to each other and had silt loam surface textures with silty clay loam subsoils. The monoculture farm had a polysaccharide content of 1 gram per kilogram, a moisture content of 8.98%, and a depth to the acrylic horizon of 39.8 centimeters. The organic farm, however, had a polysaccharide content of 1.3 grams per kilogram, a moisture content of 15.49%, and a depth to the acrylic horizon of 55.6 centimeters. The differences indicate a long-term decline in the nutrient content and therefore the productivity of the soil. Similar results have been found in Ontario, Canada. The province, which provides jobs for 40% of the given population, has found a decline in the nitrogen and carbon content of the soil. This has resulted in new levels of equilibrium for carbon and nitrogen. And although hybrids and chemical fertilizers are maintaining the productivity of the soil, pollution from the chemicals has caused the toxification of lakes and watersheds, which affects biodiversity. As monoculture increases, biodiversity decreases, further increasing monoculture. This cyclic fashion has only allowed for further loss of nutrient-rich soil. The Green Revolution, which Shiva talks about, is the universal turn to monoculture farming and use of chemical fertilizers. And according to the University of Iowa, monoculture is the leading threat to biodiversity over GMO and pesticides. To reverse this loss of soil fertility and biodiversity, several steps must be implemented. First, we must encourage the study of mycorrhizal networks and chemical communication between plants, as it would allow us to create more diverse farms and arrange plants to best benefit each other. Secondly, we must increase biodiversity with regular rotation of fields to help maintain fertility and ensure biosafety. To implement these things, we should increase awareness about the negative effects of monoculture, advocate a turn to polyculture, and through public lectures and training programs, and implement government incentivized action. Lastly, we must acquire adapted government structures that allow local farms to adapt to their environment while larger government entities ensure change is pursued. Thank you.
What evidence did you gather that you didn't use?
There was this one article that talked about how termite damage was affecting soil fertility in Africa, and although it did talk about the loss of fertility, it wasn't really what I was looking for as far as evidence for how monoculture is affecting soil fertility.
And if you had more time, what additional research would you have conducted?
I would have liked more research on, like, direct research on how it affects. A lot of the articles that I talked about gave kind of general statements on the effect of monoculture, but I would have liked to seen more statistics on exactly, like, over like 50 years how the nitrogen or carbon content of the soil has decreased.